Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Selling your car shouldn't feel like a second job. It should feel easy. With Carvana, it is. Just visit Carvana.com, enter your license plate or VIN, answer a few quick questions, and get an offer in minutes. Like what you see? We'll pick it up right from your door and hand you your check. No haggling, no hassle, no problem. Car selling made easy on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, we'll continue taking your calls about this lunacy of anti-ICE protesters swarming a Minnesota church service, disrupting it, terrifying kids. Throw the book at these people. Meantime, get this, James Carville, who's always pretty pragmatic on the Democratic side. Remember, he's married to a GOP strategist, the Ragin' Cajun. And this is what James Carville said over the weekend. He was asked, what do you think is going to happen in the midterm elections? Of course, that's November of this year, only a few months away. And this is not good news for the GOP, according to James Carville.
I'm looking at the 2026 elections, and frankly, it's going to be a wipeout. Your viewers need to know that the Democrats are going to pick up at a minimum 25 seats, maybe as high as 45. Wow. In all likelihood, the Democrats will carry the Senate. So, and I think we're shaping up very well for the 2028 election. But I don't know, 2030 is, I'm 81. That might be on the other side of my horizon, to be frank with you.
That is stunning. Maybe 25, 40 seats is what he is saying. And that's a very big deal. And that means more lunacy. And get this, in the great state of California, beautiful state, you got Eric Swalwell, who is eyeing a run there for governor, of course. And Eric Swalwell, of course, the guy who hung out with the Chinese spy Fang Fang. That's all I ever think when I think of him. Well, he's got a really crazy idea. It kind of goes in the league of Jasmine Crockett and Ilhan Omar. Listen to what he had to say about driver's licenses, essentially helping illegals and taking them away from ICE agents. Yeah, you heard it right. Helping illegals, giving them driver's licenses and taking them away from federal agents so they can't go anywhere. I mean, this is really sheer lunacy coming from Eric Swalwell.
They're going to lose their immunity. They're not going to be able to drive. I will take your driver's license. Good luck walking to work, assholes. Also, I will direct law enforcement to use every power to prosecute them for battery, false imprisonment, and murder. You know me. I'm not shy. Over the last 10 years, I worked on the Russia investigation with Adam Schiff. I helped lead the second impeachment as a manager. I've got the only lawsuit that has survived this new presidency. It's me and the January 6 officers. I'm not naive about who he is. There's only one side of the ball to be on behalf of Californians when it comes to ICE, and it's offense.
That's an incredible statement that you have a sitting member of Congress running for governor of California, Democrat, saying that he's going to take the immunity away from ICE agents. He wants to give licenses to illegals, and he wants to take driver's licenses away from the a-holes, as he describes them there, meaning ICE. That is a shocking, shocking comment. And it goes back to what James Carville's saying, that he believes the Democrats are going to have a very, very good time in the midterms. That is really trouble, you guys. Really a lot of trouble. It's a very different Democratic Party than Martin Luther King's party, as we are honoring Martin Luther King today. Martin Luther King, I don't think, would say, let's get the driver's license away from federal authorities. It was the content of someone's character versus the color of their skin, the famous line from MLK, truly a great American. And you got to hear this. Sean Hannity with Congressman Sri Thanadar. This is this crazy guy with the wild hair that doesn't look real. Here is what he had to say in this exchange. I couldn't believe this. He and Sean Hannity were going back and forth on TV, and he asked him essentially, you still support pedophiles, basically sex offenders, predators that are illegals? You'll even go so far as to protect them? And Thanadar with his crazy hair says, yeah, listen to this.
That's not what you said. Sir, you voted against a bill that mandated the deportation of illegals convicted of sex crimes. Do you regret that vote now?
No, I don't regret that vote. Look, no bill is perfect, and many times...
What if it was your wife, your sister, your daughter that was raped? That's a sex crime. You want that person to stay?
Look, there are multiple things in a bill. I don't agree with every one of them.
Sir, you got to answer the question. If your wife, your daughter, your girlfriend, mother was raped by an illegal immigrant, you voted against a bill that would deport these illegals convicted of sex crimes. You're perfectly fine if they stay in the country.
Sean, look, I serve in Congress. I don't think you ever served in Congress. That's what you voted on, though, right? Most of the bills. Look,
Why
most
did you
of these
vote
bills
for that?
are not perfect
Why
bills.
did you vote for that? Why would you allow sex crime convicts to stay in the country that entered the country illegally? Why would you vote for that?
It was not, the bill did not just include that issue. There were other things in the bill. And so I cannot pick and choose. I don't have a veto where I can strike out one portion of a bill.
You would have voted against it otherwise? What was the big provision that prevented you from kicking these people out of our country?
Look, I don't memorize. I vote on thousands of bills.
Memorize. You don't know anything.
But look, I do believe that such criminals must be deported. There is no doubt about it.
Well, you voted against it. So obviously you don't.
That's an incredible moment. Well, bills aren't perfect. And so what? So what that I voted for a bill that I voted against one in this case that would have kicked sex predators that are illegals out of the country. He couldn't even bring himself to vote for that. I mean, that's extraordinary. That's a pretty easy one. If somebody said, would you like to kick out sexual predators out of the country that are here illegally? It should be a heck yes. How about murderers, robbers, this? Heck yeah. But no, not this guy. This guy couldn't even bring himself to say it. He has such Trump derangement syndrome. And sadly, there's a lot of them in the Democratic Party that are in that same situation. Also, over the weekend, speaking of sex offenders, you got to hear this exchange. This is with an ICE agent, and he is talking to protesters and journalists that are sort of blocking the streets there in Minneapolis. And he had to actually roll down his window and talk to them and say, could you stop blocking the roadway? We're about to arrest a sex offender and you're not helping us to round up this terrible person. These are the kind of people that ICE is trying to round up and kick out of this country. And this ICE agent very politely rolls down his window and listen to what he said.
Reporting, we're here to arrest a child sex offender. And you guys are out here honking.
Oh, we're not. No, we're pressed. No, we're not.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane.
If indeed they're press, I'd love to know what kind of press is out there blocking the roadways and honking horns and impeding an arrest and an investigation. That would be interesting to know. What kind of individual that's, quote, a member of the press. There's some reputable ones, but there's a lot of ones that are not. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Norm in Brooklyn. Go ahead, Norm. Your thoughts.
First, Eric Swalwell. He is a developmentally disabled thalidomide baby, in my opinion.
How do you really feel, Norm?
Yeah.
By the way,
just look at the guy. My God, he looks like something from Deliverance, for God's sake. How can anybody vote for this guy? Okay. All right.
By the way, the sad reality is, and that's why I keep bringing that up. You look at a number of these people, it's like they are in like Looneyville. I mean, they truly are. And for him to feel that he could make that statement and do it with a straight face, and I can't wait to see the next interview. I'm betting it on like MSNBC or MS Now, as it's called. They'll say, Mr. Swalwell, tell us about this. And he'll say the whole spiel and they'll go, okay, thank you. As opposed to, wait a minute, you can't be for real that you would actually, he really is pushing the envelope. And what's scary is you got the Ilhan Omars, you got the, Rashida Tlaibs, you got all these other people that are saying these crazy things. And now it's sort of bleeding into, quote, mainstream Democrats, if you will, a little bit. And that's frightening.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
They've swallowed Trump derangement syndrome, Norm. I mean, this is like as opposed to a double dose, they've taken a quadruple dose.
Mm-hmm. Yes, completely. I look, these people, part of me has I shouldn't say a grudging admiration for these protesters. I had wished all those years I did, whatever conservative activism, to include January 6th. I wish somebody ever gave me $1. So help me God, it cost me to get to Washington D.C. It cost me on the Stop the Steal bus. It cost me like $65 to get there, which I don't regret. But I always, I lost money. I never gained $1. I mean, occasionally somebody would give me a bottle of water. I think some rich dude once took me out for dinner.
Are you feeling protester envy, Norm?
Yeah, very much so. Because, these guys, first thing, their signs are so uniform, okay? And they're being paid. I mean, I knew that from the beginning. I saw that from the first rally I remember I did, which was with Mike Mulgrew. I went along. I mean, I'm not a cop, but I went along with the cop union, and it was like this Back to Blue rally, and it started in downtown Brooklyn and went across the Brooklyn Bridge. That's the one that's famous. Some captain got knocked in the head by the BLM. I was there. I saw that when they got
I remember that was horrible. Horrible.
Struck a chief.
So anyway, Norm, let me ask you though. Let me ask you: are you worried about sort of seeing this repeat of summer of 2020, having seen those other protests firsthand? I mean, when you see some of the stuff, I don't know how much of the images. I'm sure you've seen because you're very attuned on what's going on in the world. You look at these images that were coming out of, especially Minneapolis over the weekend, where like they're banging on the door, trying to pull people out of the car, screaming, pulling this guy from a ledge. Then they're going into this church service, getting in everyone's face. I mean, it is getting really, I think, very, very dangerous. We're at a really, I think, dangerous tipping point. And I think it's already gone way too far, but it's like bad behavior if you allow it. And unfortunately, you've got local politicians who are clearly allowing it. They're not ordering everyone stand down, and even this statement from Tim Walz tonight is so tepid. It's so mamsy-pamsy, and we haven't heard anything from Jacob Fry, the mayor. If anything, he calls it love. I mean, when you hear this, how concerned are you that it's going to be a repeat performance of 2020?
Performance, and that's why President Trump has to come down, has to go medieval on these people's asses. Pardon my expression. They really got to come down super, super hard on them, and they got to come down super hard on their benefactor. I mean, Mr. Soros and Alex Soros and all that stuff. That's where the money's coming from. I mean, I've been hearing about this crap since 2019. I've heard about this crap years before that even. So I just, these are the benefactors, and there's a lot of others kind of under the radar. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised Gates and I don't know. There's a lot of them, but Soros is a big one, and they need to come down on them. I mean, they need to cut the snake off at the head. I mean, okay, go after these dummies on the street throwing bottles or whatever they're doing, but they need to cut off the snake's head. You cut off the snake's head, you can seriously cramp this stuff that's going on.
I agree. Then the sort of paid protester free for all ends. It will certainly disincentivize a number of people if they're not getting paid, as many of us believe. And even some of them have come out and even said it on camera, yeah, I'm being paid. So whoever's paying them, I agree. They need to have the book thrown at them if they're fully aware. And, there's some people who say it's domestic that are paying. It may be foreign. It may be nonprofits. If those nonprofits have funded this kind of activity, they should be sanctioned or they should be closed. Because you cannot allow this activity and condone it and be funneling any funds and go after the protesters, of course, as well. Very powerful, Norm. Great points, my friend. 1-800-848-9222. We'll continue after the break here on The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time, 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's continue with your calls. Let's go to Joaquin in Pennsylvania on line 4. Joaquin, your thoughts tonight?
Good evening, Rita. I agree with Matt on a lot of things, and especially like tonight when he was saying this is an assault on Judeo-Christian white Western civilization, and that's what it is. It's white racism that's going on. And if we're going to save these midterms that are coming up, we have to get strong. And the first place to begin with, it's really not Trump derangement syndrome. Trump is a representative of a sovereign United States of America, and they hate Trump because they hate this country the way it is. They want to change it. And Trump is what stands in the way. So he's just a symbol. So really, anyone that hates Trump their hatred is really towards the sovereign United States of America. And if our side
because
does not
by the way,
strong,
he's such a vocal fighter, Joaquin, to your point, you know, and they don't like a vocal fighter for American values, I think. I agree.
Yes, exactly. But it's the American values that they're going after, though, when they go after him. He's just, basically the sacrificial lamb when it comes to that.
But if they thought, Joaquin, if they thought he was a tepid communicator, not a good communicator or not a force, they probably wouldn't care as much. You got to admit that.
I agree with that. No, the only point I'm making is it's because of what he represents. They hate him because they hate the country. But, in order to save these midterms, our side really has to really get strong because, what's going to keep our people away from voting is if they feel frustrated and if they feel futility in going to the polls. And, the left, they just love to twist Christianity to pervert it, to their way of thinking. And when they went into that church, they broke laws. They broke, U.S. Code 18, U.S., there's a symbol there.
Yeah, USC. Yup, exactly. Yup. Hey, Joaquin, do me a favor. I'll continue with you after the break. We got a heart out, but stick with us because I want to hear more of your thoughts on this. The protest into the church.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on.
And as we are talking about this craziness going on in the church, we're going to continue with Joaquin in a moment. But first, here is Tim Walz. And you got to hear he's trying to flip the switch and blame Trump on targeting those in houses of worship. You can't make it up. Listen to this.
So I would fully expect, and we are preparing for, an influx of more agents, more of the very visible public theatrics of the raids, of the harassments. And you got faith leaders here. I would not put it past this administration to target midnight mass services amongst folks going to worship, because that's who they are.
That's an amazing turn of phrase. Let's go back to Joaquin in Pennsylvania. Joaquin, incredible. No self-reflection from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
No, I wouldn't expect any at all anyway, because they know exactly what they're doing, And, they played that clip of the ICE officer talking to that young girl. And if it's the same one that I watched, he reached the point where he actually was threatening to arrest her. And all of a sudden, you should have seen how scared she was when the reality of the fact that it was being pointed out that she was committing a crime. And this is where we're falling short. We're not being strong enough to deter this stuff. You can protest on the sidewalk. You can stand there all you want, but the second you get involved like that, there has to be consequences. And going into the church, the left, they push their hate crimes legislation, and all it is basically to protect against Islamophobia. It has nothing to do with Christians or Jews at all whatsoever. And if we lose these midterms, it's going to be the beginning of a domino effect, and we have to really fight hard. People have to be really educated and to realize that this is a matter of saving this country now. Otherwise, once it falls into the hands of the left, they're going to be free to do whatever they want. They're going to come after everyone that stands against them. They're going to come after people that have, voices like all of us on your radio show, and they're going to go after ICE agents, and this has to be stopped. We have to take this country back.
Well, that's the issue, Joaquin. You think about if they were to win in the midterms, I keep calling it sort of impeachment mania, but there is no doubt that they will be crazy about impeachment. They're going to go left and right. If you think they're pushing the envelope now, I think a lot of them, they'll go so much further. They'll feel emboldened. And then from 26 to 28, it's going to be even crazy town, if that's possible. And then where do you see the primaries? I mean, where do you see the elections? Because right after the midterms is really where it starts, the election process, the primaries. They're going to try to out-crazy each other, don't you think, Joaquin?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. We're going to have to really find someone really, really strong, to put in there. But hopefully these midterms, people on our side can become vocal enough and become inspired enough to actually get out and vote and not feel any sense of futility about the issue.
Well, that's why, by the way, the RNC chair, Joe Gruder, came out and said, in sort of response to Carville, essentially said that he is saying that Trump, and this is something that we heard even from Susie Wiles there at the White House, that Trump is going to get out. He's going to be the campaigner in chief this year, that he's really going to go out there and campaign because he knows, and a lot of it's his legacy, even though it's typical that the party that's not in power wins in the midterms. He wants to beat the odds. And if he could keep the House and the Senate, it would obviously not just legacy, it's also his agenda, the American public's agenda. He knows there's so much at stake. Otherwise, it's 2 years of gridlock, right?
Exactly. And it's not even any more Republicans against Democrats. It's Americans against anti-American agenda now. That's what the Democrat Party has become. And there's very few of them in that party. John Fetterman is one of the few exceptions. But the rest of them are fighting an agenda that's basically to tear this country apart, to change it into something that it just wasn't meant to be. And as we allow these people to come in, you see these Somalians and all these politicians, they're not voting, on legislation to benefit America as a country. They're voting to benefit Somalia and all these other places that they come from. And these invading armies, it was also pointed out that in Mexico, they want mass migration here because they want to try and take back territory that they believe belongs to them, which does not, because historically we conquered it. Santa Anna actually surrendered it to spare his own life, So, this is America, and we have to protect it.
Yeah, I agree. 100%, Joaquin. Great. Very well said. And by the way, I want to play, this is a clip from Alan Dershowitz, you guys. He was on with us earlier today on Katz and Cosby. This is what he had to say about Tim Walz and Jacob Fry in Minneapolis. We were asking his legal perspective and if they indeed, as we know, the DOJ is looking into them for conspiring to impede law enforcement. So he was talking about their role in all of this. Take a listen.
So I would fully expect, and we are preparing for, an influx of more agents, more of the very visible public theatrics of the raids, of the harassments. And you got faith leaders here. I would not put it past this administration to target midnight mass services amongst folks going to worship, because that's who they are.
Well, we played that again because it was so good. And that was Tim Walz talking about Trump inspiring people to go to houses of worship. That's an incredible statement. Here's Dershowitz, though, and his take on all of this.
They're coming from a place, we believe very strongly in segregation now and forever. No, he's wrong. And, I think it's going to cost them in their domestic elections because, there are good people in Minnesota and they're sensible. And hopefully they'll get rid of people like the mayor and the governor who are not acting in the best interests of the Constitution or of the United States. They may think they're right, but they have to go back and read the Constitution and read the constitutional history and understand that whether you're Mayor Fry or whether you're Mayor Mamdani, you can't be interfering with federal law. Indeed, you should be trying to help enforce federal law. And that's why I hate sanctuary cities. They're a terrible blight on our Constitution. People think that they're good things, but they're not. And I just think that we have to stand in opposition to city and state efforts to, as the judge said, nullify federal law enforcement.
And he also talked about how federal law is supreme. Listen to this.
Look, if Minnesota was a real state, and it's not, look at who the Attorney General of Minnesota is. He's a Farrakhan, anti-Semitic thug. That's who he is. That's the Attorney General of Minnesota. Look at who the governor is. If they were a real state, they would be prosecuting these people for violating state laws, but they're not obviously going to do that. They could be prosecuted for state laws, for harassment, for trespassing, for interfering with a church service, but it's going to be up to the federal government because Minnesota is like Alabama was in the 1950s. They're trying to prevent the federal government from enforcing the law under the supremacy clause of the Constitution, and nobody should be sympathetic to them. I saw the other day, I don't remember if it was Don Lemon or somebody else who said, we're the civil rights workers. No, you're the Ku Klux Klan. The civil rights workers are the people who are trying to enforce federal law under the supremacy clause.
That's a great historical analogy. And he brought up the Attorney General there in Minnesota, Keith Ellison. Here's a little bit from him on where he stands. Does he sound like an unbiased arbiter or somebody who's trying to work with federal law enforcement?
People should have every reason to be hopeful and optimistic. We are standing up under the worst ugly they can throw our way. Yeah. We are out here. We're not daunted. We're not afraid. We're pursuing our legal interests. We have independent journalists like you helping us to tell the story. And so there's every reason for people to be upbeat and positive. We're going to show the country what it means to stand up for true democracy, which our country has never truly seen. Right. But we're advancing ourselves in that direction. It's really more of a pursuit than an end goal. But this is something we're going to go through. But I just say to people, and my mother used to say this, be not overwhelmed by evil, but overcome evil with good. Yeah. And that's what we got to do. Put out that good, put out that love, put out that courage, and look at Renee Good as an example. This woman lost her life trying to be vigilant on behalf of the most vulnerable members of our community. Yeah. And I think that is beautiful. And so we're standing where she lost her life just a short while ago. And
as we say in this country, right, we are in pursuit of a more perfect union, not
more perfect union.
I think that's him with Don Lemon. It sounded like Boy, oh boy. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Phil in the Bronx on line 1. Phil, your thoughts.
Hey, Rita, good evening.
You too, my friend. How you doing?
Okay, my wife's good. I'm good.
Good.
Listen, here's my problem. You got ICE agents, federally empowered agents of the United States government, federal. They go into a normal, sane neighborhood. They go to the door of a house. They have an address where supposedly these two illegals are hiding out. They knock on the door. Lady answers, what's up? We'd like to come in, federal ICE agents. We're looking for two individuals. He describes them. He said, oh, yeah, they're in the backyard on beach chairs hanging out. They go out of the house, go in the back. They walk up to the two guys, take their wrists, cuff them, take them in the van. The whole thing lasts not even 15, 20 minutes. Now, what I don't understand is these agents have tremendous power and force behind them because they're federal. Now, what happens is they go into another neighborhood. People try to run them over. They're throwing chunks of concrete at them and all other stuff. And now they come out now, as of yesterday, one ICE agent pulls up in a vehicle, rolls down his driver's side window where he's sitting, and there's three people standing 2 feet away from the window. And he's asking them in a nice voice, we're looking for a child sex offender. Do you know anything? We're looking for a child. This is the dumbest thing, the stupidest thing.
But Phil, he wasn't asking. If you look at that video, he was telling them to get out of the way because he knew where he was going. That's how it looked like to me.
I understand. But you don't roll down your driver's side. You could have got asked.
No, you're right. By the way, you are absolutely right. Apparently, though, in that case, they were members of the press, so-called press. Isn't that scary?
We don't know that. Nobody knows that. It's not verified. And
yeah, I agree. By the way, Phil, I agree.
Telling them to soften up.
Yep, I agree, Phil. You're right. It's downright dangerous. You're absolutely right. Because who knows
happening?
What? Yeah.
Why?
I think
it's happening because they're getting flashback to the through the Congress. They're telling them, we'll try to go a little bit better, a little easier.
Phil, did I just lose you there?
Federal agent doing a job.
Yeah. So now let me ask you, Phil. Phil, hang on.
Look what they did to me.
Phil, let me ask you. Phil, what about those folks who protested or stormed, as I think is better to describe, the church? What do you think should happen to them?
Well, before I say that, I'll just give you a quick 10-second answer. The point is, look at Mar-a-Lago. They went there with machine guns, assault weapons, and all that stuff. So, you get my point. Marshals got to be careful, these ICE agents. About that church, absolutely zero acceptability, total violation of their constitutional rights. They should sue. They should have these people brought up on federal civil rights and put in jail. It's criminal.
I agree.
Criminal.
I agree. And Phil, I agree with you that I think they've been too easy. I know, obviously, they're sensitive to some of the criticism, but I agree with you. The law, I believe, is on their side 100%, especially if you look at all the people they've rounded up. I think 3,000 folks, and a lot of them are, with sex offenses and murder records and a whole bunch of other stuff. And if you look at all of that, that speaks for itself. And sometimes other people are getting pulled in, but they're not targeting them mamsy-pamsy as the Democrats are trying to portray it. And then there's the crazy Democrats, Phil, on the other side, the Sri Thanadar, who even if the person's a sex offender, I guess he'll still vote for the bill to keep that person in the country. I mean, that's an extraordinary comment. And it just shows that a number of them are just outright bonkers right now, Phil. It really is scary. And we're in a dangerous place. And I agree with you. They have to be tough. They have to be clear. And they got to throw the book at those who are violating the law. And unfortunately, there are a lot of them. You're 100% right. Phil, thank you very much. It's always great to hear from you. And you guys, we're going to continue with your calls after the break. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. But first, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And everybody, this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with a very powerful story from York County, Pennsylvania, where World War II veteran Mitchell Angelo celebrated his 100th birthday, honored by family members and also members of his local community, honoring his lifetime of service and sacrifice. He was born in 1926. He is the son of Greek immigrants. He was drafted at age 18, and he served as an Army engineer stationed around France, Belgium, and Germany in the 1940s. And after his century of service, Angelo said he would do it all over again, saying, "I did what they ordered me to do. Hey, I was only 18 years old. I was not ready to die. And thank God for that, because crazy things used to happen all the time during war. And thank goodness he is around to share his experiences for future generations." And of course, we love honoring members of the greatest generation and, of course, their family. And everybody, help America to never, ever forget the sacrifice of these incredible heroes. All you have to do to make a big difference is donate $11 a month to the incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. They do so much good, and you can help make it happen. Check them out at t2t.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's continue with your calls. Eduardo in Tampa, line 4. Go ahead, Eduardo.
Yeah, Rita, I don't know if you brought this up, but Chief O'Hara was on 60 Minutes yesterday, even that Alfonsi, Venezuela, with the illegals that were sent off. That aired yesterday.
Yep.
That one that was banned.
Yep, the CCOT. Yep, the CCOT prison, yep.
Yeah, there was really nothing new about that. I mean, we know they're going over there, but they're insinuating that there's innocent people that are going over there. And Chief O'Hara from Minnesota, he should have said, you know what, we're going to be tapering off these blacks so that way the ICE are privately, rounding up these people. That way you don't have, these people coming in and interfering with ICE arrest. I didn't hear anything about that in the interview yesterday with Cecilia Ramos.
No, and the other thing also, he also, Eduardo, in that same interview, kept talking about how the city system has been flooded by 911 calls, from people who are, and he seemed to think, that he understands why they're calling 911. I mean, he stood there when Jacob Fry made the remark that, get the F out of this, and we will not have them cooperate. There have been reports that ICE and certain times has been overwhelmed by the crowd, just by the sheer number of some of the crowd out there. And even under those conditions, Fry has said, no way, we're not going to have them come. And he just stands there right next to him. I haven't seen any division between him and Jacob Fry. And to me, that's really sad. There's also that woman in Philly, Eduardo. You've seen her. I mean, she's the one who said, if ICE shows up here and commits a crime, we're going to go after them. And Larry Krasner, who's the DA in Philly, has said the same thing.
Right.
But I think it's disgusting when you see these law enforcement officials who know, I mean, anybody knows how tough it is for ICE. It doesn't take somebody in law enforcement to know it, but certainly somebody in law enforcement should have even more understanding and more compassion. And he's just kind of sat there like a guppy when Jacob Fry has been trashing ICE and law enforcement. What do you think of this guy? What do you think of that guy in Minneapolis?
Yeah, he should resign, but he's not going to. And they're letting their politics, cloud their judgment, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you. He should speak out. I mean, what a powerful message that would be. I'd love to see him. Wouldn't it be a great moment, Eduardo, like in the middle of a press conference as Fry is going on bashing ICE? I'd love for him to come up. The whole world's watching and him to say, actually, Mr. Mayor, Law enforcement need to be respected. They need to be appreciated. And I wish you and the governor had the guts to let us do our job and help ICE. Then he would be somebody I'd respect.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.